Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Breakdown of the Day. My name is Drex, and for the very first episode, we're going to be covering one of my all time favorite bands, All Shall Perish. So kick back and let's get pretty glunky. Now, before we jump into the nitty gritty, this episode is brought to you by Chum. Are you afraid of sharks? Are you a seaman with a fear of being thrown overboard? Not to worry, my friend, because Chum will save your life. You find yourself in open waters and see the huge mouth of a great white shark heading straight towards you. Well, don't fret, and just chum in his mouth. Maybe your accuracy is a little off? Well, not a problem, my friend. With every order of chum, we will include the chum shot. Whip out this bad boy and you'll be able to chum in its eyes from 50 yards away. Always store the contents in a cool area and container because the last thing you'd want is chum in your pants. Now in two flavors, Original and Seaman's Delight. Enter promo code DREX at checkout for 100% off. Now, for those of you who aren't entirely familiar with what a breakdown is, think of the most intense, brutal, chaotic thing you can think of.
And literally fuck your own face!
Now, some people associate breakdowns with, emotional stability or the deconstruction of something like a tent. You're going to break down a tent. Well, I'm here to change your idea of what people commonly associate breakdowns with. Now, this is a breakdown. Did you catch that? It was kind of quick, but here it is again. And there it is. You have just been exposed to the greatest creation on earth. Well, I mean, it ain't no California burrito, but it's pretty damn close. So, what we're going to cover in this series are so many underrated and underground metal bands and hardcore bands as well. More specifically, the breakdowns in their songs. Now, there are many things to celebrate, in a great metal song, like solos, technicality, creativity, and even endurance. But hearing the breakdown will make just about anyone chum. Not a sponsor. And in this episode, we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite metal bands, All Shall Perish. One of my high school buddies who goes by Shush Shush, because I'm not going to give out the real names here, he actually posted this song as a request or like a recommendation in our Discord. And immediately upon hearing it, there was just a flood of memories in my brain. Now, this is a 5-piece band that started out in the early 2000s. And even back then, they were delivering a dynamite sound. With their debut album on Nuclear Blast Records called Hate, Malice, and Revenge. And I'm sure at some point we'll cover that album too. But then we move on to my favorite album called The Price of Existence. And this was in 2006. Now, with the addition of the new singer, his name was Eddie Ermita. The band was just elevated to new heights. Like, they were melodic, they were heavy, they had the junjuns, the pig squeals, and the band was just raw talent. And boy, I was crazy about them. Now, keep this in mind. Like, this was during a time when emo and screamo was sweeping the nation. I tried listening to some of those bands, but guys, I'm telling you, it needs more breakdown. Now, fast forward about a year, and All Shall Perish is actually touring in my area. The buddy who actually recommended the song Shushish, well, we, along with some other friends, decided to go to their show. Man, that was a show. Now, they performed at a venue that is no longer there anymore, but the experience is something that I'll never forget. Like any good show, a mosh pit sprouted. And during All Shall Perish's set, the crowd got particularly wild. Now, Shushish and myself were at the edge of this mosh pit while others went in. and standing in front of me, acting as a barrier and human meat shield, was this pretty lanky kid. And out of the corner of my eye stand like this short, stocky fella wearing a tap out t-shirt and cut off camo shorts. Like this was the tough guy, typical tough guy apparel for that time. You know, when the lanky kid, he went in to express himself to the beat of the breakdown, camo shorts over here decided that he was the guy to unleash all of his anger on him. And in an instant, he landed a haymaker on the glonky kid, and immediately he dropped, like your IQs listening to this series right now. Now, it is common etiquette at these shows that if someone goes down in the mosh, the people surrounding him typically they pick him up and carry him to safety. Now, the reasoning is because if he's left down there, that dude can die. And we've seen it in the past. Something Travis Scott, some people died at his show because of trampling. The trampoline, you know, they bounce up and down. Well, anyway, they could get trampled to death. So this kid goes down and his body lands right at my feet. So it's basically on me at that point to help him out. So I get him up with the help of my buddy, and we carry this unconscious kid out of the venue. Now, we plop him up against the wall and wait for him to wake up, and he's just out, and he's gone. Now, in the light, I can finally see the damage that's been done. Like this poor kid had his upper lip like completely split open, and he was just gushing blood. And I thought that's fucking metal, bro. But so I was trying to figure out like what can I do to help him out. So all I had on me was a water bottle and 2 bandanas that I had worn like around my wrist during that show. And they were sweaty bandanas because it's hot in there, man. But I gave him one of the bandanas so he can clean himself off, and then I went back inside. Now I'm sure there are more details that I'm missing about that night, but it was like something like 15 years ago, and I may or may not have just aged myself there. But fuck it, I aged like a Gouda cheese. Now All Shall Perish will always have a place in my ass where I hold them dearly. Now, after I graduated high school, my first tattoo was actually a reference to this All Shall Perish album, The Price of Existence. And this song that we're featuring today is called Wage Slaves. The band is a very kind of like a politically oriented, they have political messages in their songs a lot of the time. And I just thought that was the coolest fucking thing because I've never, up until that point, haven't heard a band like that or had heard lyrics kind of akin to that message. And I wasn't the only one though that had a tattoo like of an All Shall Perish reference. Another close friend of mine who is also a supreme guitarist, we'll just call him LG. He also got one on his chest, a tattoo on his chest, and the shit looks so fucking badass. I wish I could get one just like it, but miss you, man. Wish you could come up on the show and we can cover some also awesome songs. And there were more experiences that I had with this band. I'm sure we'll cover in like another episode as well. But for now, I want you to close your eyes, ponder upon the story that I've told you today. You're in a dark, damp cellar. Sweaty people are everywhere, and you don't just hear the loud music, but you feel it. Each time you hear the double bass from the drums to each one of the jun-juns from the guitar. And then a kid is knocked the fuck out in front of you. This is pure chaos. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Breakdown of the Day. you guys still alive? Did anyone have your nose broken? Did you at least shed your pantaloons? Basically, a nuke was just set off in your ear holes, so I hope you're still with me. Not everyone survives the first time, so I say to you, congratulations, you done it. Anyway, this was All Shall Perish, Wage Slaves on their 2006 album, The Price of Existence. Sadly, the band is no longer together. With the departure of their lead guitarist, Chris Story, the band put out one last album until the lead singer, Eddie Hermida, signed on with the huge mega band Suicide Silence. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that Mitch, who was the previous singer of Suicide Silence, had passed away in a motorcycle accident a while ago. And right around this time, Eddie had signed on with them, and the rest is history. So that about wraps up this episode of Breakdown of the Day. Thank you again for sticking around, and for those listening and would like to throw out your favorite breakdowns, please leave a comment down below and like and murder that smash button, whatever. I plan on doing more of these in the future, so send in your requests or whatever your favorite breakdowns are, and we'll put it on the show, man. And with that, peace.